This is a refresher video for my photography students on the basics of composition and lighting. These are guidelines that will create stronger photos. A wise man once told me, you can do whatever you want with the background, except for ignore it. When you're zoomed in, the background becomes blurry and non-distracting. Choose a color or texture opposite of your subject to make it stand out. Other times, showing the subject blending in with the background is interesting. The background can also help tell your story. Diagonal lines and triangles make your photos more interesting. This doesn't just mean tilting your camera, but approaching your subject from a different viewpoint. Horizontal and vertical lines are stable, but adding diagonal lines makes the picture more dynamic. Emphasize your subject by getting in close so it fills most of the frame. Capture your subject from a different angle that's unique, from the point of view of an object. I like getting down low. If you have a wide angle on your camera or phone, it gives you a fisheye effect. Divide your frame into threes, both vertically and horizontally, to give you 9 equal rectangles. The strongest areas to put your subject are these spots. Your subject may not fall exactly on one of those spots, but on a line of thirds, which is okay. But if you want to fix it, you can always crop pictures to fit the rule. Balance can be difficult to understand because there are so many things to balance in a photograph. Balance your subject with a second object behind. Leave room for your subject to theoretically move or look. This photograph is not balanced. It's heavily weighted to the right, with nothing to balance it out on the left. If it were a boat, it would tip over. Our eyes will go to an area of high contrast first in an image. The most contrasted areas are black and white. Besides using contrasting colors, you can also use contrasting ideas, like old versus new, living versus non-living, happy versus sad. You can lead your viewer's eye through a photo or to a subject by using structures that are within the picture or adding them yourself. Shadows are a great example of this. And sometimes they're not really lines, but curves. Use the natural elements in your foreground or background to fully or partially surround your subject to draw emphasis. Humans are drawn to repetition. Textures can fit into this category as well. Proper exposure is having enough light to show off your subject without overdoing it. Some situations will call for your picture to be underexposed, just to show off the highlights of your subject. Sometimes your photo is overexposed in order to show off the highlights of your subject. Hard light gives distinct shadows with bright areas and dark spots. Soft light is even. Here are some examples of the same subject under the two different lighting situations. Side lighting gives you dramatic results and brings out the textures and contours of your subject. Backlighting means the light comes from behind the subject. It silhouettes the shape. Here's a photo of hard light, and when we turned around to make it backlight, it wasn't silhouetting, but a nice effect.